And that was it. You just went and found a supplier and...
Yeah, it was, it was a longer story than that. I had some money because Social Nation was relatively successful, and it's a very different business in that you don't need like a premises. All you need is a laptop and a phone. There's no cost involved. So a lot of the money I was making was just pure profit. So I did have some money, but I didn't have enough. So I needed like an investor or at least a loan. Of going to a weight loss boot camp, and I ended up finding someone that I started to work with. So she's very much still involved, but she's very kind of like silent. And so she came with me. We must have gone to 20 wineries before we found our one, because even though some wineries were vegan, they weren't both vegan and organic and willing to create a wine for us. So to find one that was family run, it was vegan, it was also organic, it was willing to create some and work alongside us, that was such a struggle. And then when we found that, and then sometimes we did find it and we were like, this wine just isn't good enough. So when we found them and we tasted the wine, we must have tasted like their whole portfolio of wines. And even without a reduction in sugar, their wine was just phenomenal. So I was like, I know that if we remove sugar from this and create our own recipe, it will still be amazing. You can tell the way they take care of the grape. You can tell the way they speak with passion. You can tell by like how tight knit the family is. And then, so when they ended up creating our recipe, it was just, we knew straight away when we drank it, this is the one. This is the one. But
it was one of those high moments.
Yeah. Back and forth to Italy many, many times.
How awful though.
It was funny because when lockdown happened, I was like, oh, well, you know what? I'm so happy I don't have to go to Italy. I'm sick to death of it. And then obviously after a few months, I'm like, oh, give me Italy. I just want Italy back.
Oh, so it has been as recent as like the last couple of years then? I don't think I asked that question. I knew it was fairly recently, but when was it officially launched?
So we're 3.5 years old now. But obviously it was like 2 years in development. So I've been working for a good 5 years. But yeah, 3.5 wheel.
Well done. Well done. That was one of my questions. And the drinks industry is highly competitive. How did you know? Because this is a big question, I think, particularly for females. We think we have like great ideas. I know I'm like this. I have a million ideas. With great ideas, it's like, no, it's too competitive. You've got so many of the big players there. How much would it cost to launch? And then what happens if it was a failure because it is a saturated industry? Like, I know you knew there was a bit of a gap, but because there's so many dominant players out there, what at that self-belief to think, I'm going to do this. I can do this.
Yeah, I think it was literally just that. I was just thinking, right, well, I'm going to make this happen. And I'm not going to rest until it has happened. And also, I think that I knew that if we could make it a certain quality, then, for what reason would it fail? But, we're only 3.5 years in. Like, as I say, Social Nation was an absolute overnight success. I made money day one of that business. This has been hard work. It has eaten every penny that I have. It's cost after cost after cost. It never ends. I'm going to need big investment to hit the plans that I'm for. So, we're not there yet by any means, but I knew I was never going to throw it away just because, I've read story after story about how like, I don't know if it is Moe, but I'll just say that as like an example. One of them, like Moe style brands, they didn't turn a profit for 11 years. And then now they're like the biggest bubbly brand in, the UK, US. So it is the type of industry that is hard work, but I was willing to keep going with it until we make it work. And I really believed in the product, but I also believe in myself and the ability to not give up, because consistency is key in everything. And if you're going to have a little knockback and then go, oh God, well, that's it then. I can't do it, then, it's never going to work. But I'm just not that type of person. I'm just going to keep on getting up and going again until eventually you get that break.
Oh, You sound fabulous entrepreneur. You definitely will be successful. Do you have a business coach, Kath?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, I've got one as well. Like he definitely helps that process of mindset management as well.
Yeah. I didn't ever think that I necessarily needed one, but I know that there's massive gaps in my knowledge in like the financial side. So analyzing P&Ls, forecasts, things like that, huge gap for me because that's not what I like. I love selling, I love marketing, I love speaking to people, I love, being out there. That's what I love, but I don't love sat there going, oh, let's forecast the next 2 years. How are we going to hit that financial target? Like, that is not my idea of fun.
Yeah.
So I'm on board someone who's got the eyes where they can look at figures and, basically. So that's
keep you on track as well, don't they?
Yeah. And sometimes she, if I'm like feeling down or whatever, she can just like hype you back up. It's just like nice to have.
Yeah. I value my coach a lot.
Yeah.
So, a question then about e-commerce. And what would you say for ThinK Wine then? What percentage of your total revenue is generated from online sales? And would you like that to be more or less?
I would like it to be more. I think it's probably 50-50-ish now.
Yeah.
And I would like it to be more because I feel like it's such just, you can be asleep at night just making money. You're hanging with sales from Shopify or Amazon or whatever that may be. And you sleep or you're in another country, like it doesn't stop. So I feel like that's what I would like that percentage to be more because it's a lot harder work selling business to business. You've got to be there. You've got to be out and about. You've got to make all those phone calls. You've got to send all those samples. Like it's a lot more difficult, but it's also fun because when you go into the venues and you see them stocking your wine, you're just like, oh my God, I love that. Like my wine is in here and people are drinking it and you look around and you see people drinking it and you're just like, oh, I'm so happy. So it's worth doing, but I would ideally like the higher percent of it to be online.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. So you've got your Shopify. I know you are moving on to Amazon. Are there any other channels as well, or any other marketplaces that you've gone into?
Yeah, so there's a business called Drinkwell, and they sell just low calorie drinks, in general. So it could be, I don't know, it's predominantly wine, I think, but like it can be beer, it can be, little gin and tonic cans, red wine, all the wines that you could have, like low calorie, low sugar. So we're featured heavily on there and they do quite well because they do kind of like you pay, I don't know, let's just say £100 and then you get a random selection of 8 to 10 wines in your box. So it's a really good deal. And they'll all like 1 to 2 premium products. So put our wine in it. So we do quite well on there.
Because TikTok as well, we can't sell alcohol on TikTok, can we? Because otherwise that would be so good for you.
I would love to be on TikTok shop like, hey, let's drink the wine. Like, but no, you're not allowed to sell alcohol on TikTok. And where I do want to go though is LinkedIn, because I sell organically on LinkedIn, just like myself talking to camera or, posting whatever I'm doing. So I think, well, if I'm able to sell organically, I should be able to do a bit of paid promotion, run some ads and see some return there. But I haven't, but it is on the agenda.
Okay, well, final question from me then is regarding personal and professional development. So you've mentioned you've got a coach, but as a successful female founder in the e-commerce world, what do you do to develop yourself personally and professionally? That might be a book, might be a podcast. I know you've got a coach, so that is all about professional development. And then of those, which is the most inspiring and empowering?
Yeah. The funny thing is, like, I'm a massive reader, but I don't read any self-development books. And the reason for that is because I've always thought to myself that I have a natural ability to do that. And I don't want to make it I don't want to make it something that I'm consciously doing. So because I've always naturally been like positive, glass half full type of thing. I've always believed in you know, if I think I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I think I'm going to get something, I'm going to get it. I've always believed that in myself. So to go reading books that are basically telling you that, I feel like that will make it a conscious thought, and then I could lose my natural ability, which is probably just completely not true. But I just feel that way, and therefore I never do. So I don't read any self-development books. I learn a lot from people. So I love listening to people. I love listening to stories, journeys, people's lives, overcome situations where they've been resilient, how, you know, they've made their business a success. So I do a lot. I do listen to podcasts, and I do listen, you know, I go to a lot of talks. I do a lot of networking. If I find a person interesting, I could spend 2 hours just quizzing them. Just like, hello.
I love to quiz people. Yes.
I love it. I'm like, but that, oh, and then how exactly did you do that? So I find interacting with people, and especially successful people, is what I love to do to develop myself, rather than like read a book that says, oh, you can manifest this, or, you know, if you do exactly this, you'll be successful. I'm just like, no, I just want to hear stories, really. I love a story.
Yeah, because that is so inspiring though, isn't it? When you see firsthand, you asking those questions. I always, when you speak to anybody like that, I'm just literally uplifted, and then that just spurs me on for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Yeah, but the opposite as well. You can go to networking events and actually your mood could go down with like the doom and gloom of business as well. So yeah,
because what you find is some of like the smaller brand new businesses, they can just be like, oh, I've had a terrible time with this, and this, and then you're like, oh, and then you want to help, but you can't help everyone. So it's because I always find that if I hear that and I think, oh, well, I could probably help with that, I'll end up saying it, and then I'm stuck with them for 5 hours, basically rewriting things and like introducing them to people and like all this, because I want to help. But sometimes you've just got to go, well, no, you don't have the time for that. Sorry, crap.
Yeah, focus. Would you say you're a focused person? I know you said you're resiliently driven, but like focus. I suffer with magpie, you know, shiny object syndrome. Oh, what about this? I could try this, or let me think about this for a while.
Yeah, I am a bit like that as well. I have to keep telling myself, because people will say to me like, oh, wouldn't this be a great idea? Would you go into this with me? And I'm thinking, well, actually, yeah, that is a good idea, and I probably would go into it. And then I'm like, no, you're not having your fingers in a load of pies. You stick into ThinK, put your efforts into that. And so I have to rein myself back in. So I don't think I'm naturally focused by any means. It's definitely a very effort to be focused.
Yeah, my business coach talks to me a lot about that focus. Like, is that on your 90-day plan? Is that on your 1-year plan?
Yeah.
Is that on your 5-year? Okay, let's address these goals, realign these goals. Or not. Yes. Okay. Well, that comes to the end of this interview. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've been obviously following you on LinkedIn for a long time and been inspired by your story, and Sam as well.